Welcome to another Route Pros vlog. James and Mark here, the Route Pros. And Mark, come to Kansas City. Thanks for coming. It's been a good time.
Yeah, it's been a great time. I love coming out here and huddling up with you and talking about all the great folks out in Route Pros Nation.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed our last vlog we did, top 5 kind of lessons learned from our on-sites. Join us for this vlog today as we're going to talk about some of our fondest memories, places, people, things. So stay tuned and enjoy another Route Pros vlog. Another Route Pros vlog. Like we said, James Poyser, Mark Albrecht. Mark, we're going to do Tales from the Field.
Absolutely. I love coming out here and doing these firesides, these chats about all the things we see. So we figured we'd record it and do it live on a vlog this time.
Well, we get asked all the time, what's some of your memories? And then we share a lot of memories. And it's kind of funny as we've been kind of preparing for this. We're like, oh my goodness, what do we do? And so this is actually take 2. We took us like 30 minutes just to get started for the first place. So anyway, we're going to start off with our favorite places, favorite ride-alongs. And if you're left out of this, we'll apologize later. But right now, Mark, one of your favorite places to go, what is it?
Yeah, my favorite route to ride along is really easy. I'm aesthetically motivated, so I love the beauty of Santa Fe, New Mexico. We work with a great team out at the Cleanery out there, and I've had the privilege of riding that route. Get beautiful scenery, snow and desert and everything else. My favorite place, I think, is a really underrated town. It's in the greater Grand Rapids area, the headquarters of Curtis Cleaners. Lowell, Michigan. It's got the best room in America, room number 3 at the Main Street Inn, right on the Flat River. And it's got great little restaurants. I'm a barbecue connoisseur, ask my belly. It's got great local family-owned restaurants that I love to visit when I'm there. How about you?
My favorite place, prior was actually going to your hometown, Best Cleaners. You can kind of barely see it over here, but, Mark's team would be waiting for us, for me especially. You would be welcoming us. You get, like you said earlier, if I was there at 7, it'd be 6:45 visit. They were always prepared. We had an agenda planned out. We always had sales blitzes and contests planned, which we'll talk about here in a little bit with another story. But, it was the one place that I felt like the drivers were the one that were like, when are you coming back out? And you as a manager were spearheading that. And that was prior to you becoming, a member of the Route Pro team. My favorite place to go right now, and, because I've been in a lot of aesthetic places, Australia and stuff, is kind of a combination. It's probably Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're home of Paula at Classic Cleaners. It's pretty and all that stuff, but she's probably one of our best success stories. And she's one that follows us pretty much to a T. And, to go out and make recommendations and then to actually put into play and actually see work like she does and grow at the rate she does and be, with the leadership she has with Uranka and her involvement, best place to go, bar none. A lot of other good stories, but that's probably what I love to do. Which leads me to favorite memories. I'll start off this, our favorite memories from the field. And we tell a lot of stories, especially at conferences and stuff, and people don't believe this, but usually I throw the names out there so you can validate. Andy Curtis at Curtis Cleaners was one of the very first times I went out. It was the first time I worked there. And we went in this area, and I always tell people the top 10 worst things ever happened to me door to door. 3 of them happened, or most memorable, I should say, happened at Curtis Cleaners. The first one was we knocked on this door, Andy and I did, and as we turned around, the guy started throwing oranges at us, and he looked like it was, throwing with his wrong hand. And I mean, this is Michigan. Where's the oranges at? Yeah, there's Curtis over there. Well, we're dodging him, and Andy turns around and he's looking. He's like, "What is going on?" And then a little bit later, we go into a nice neighborhood, but we see this house with 2 toilets in the front yard. And so I go, we got to knock on that door. You know, we try to cherry pick and pre-qualify, but let's not disqualify. And we go ring the doorbell, and I hate to say this, but the woman's teeth were an inch long. Andy even saw me jump back. Real nice lady. She actually gave us a bunch of leads. But that's a true story. And then not too much long later, we're in this neighborhood. There's a lot of cars. I said, look, this could be a Tupperware party. I ring the doorbell. This little boy answers the door wearing a suit. And I go, boy, you're cute. You know, is your mommy or daddy home? And he tells me his daddy just died. So not quite funny, really emotional. Obviously shut down. We're done for the day. But that's a memory that I share a lot. Another memory real quick, I'll pass the mic to you, is Jason Clark. I shouldn't bring the name up, but I got his picture right here. And Jason was a great, I mean, the guy, you see, he's got a flip book. But we're out there pounding the pavement, and we talked about in the earlier vlog about having an unmarked van. We were in an unmarked van, and Jason was a super nice guy. And he jumps out of the vehicle, and he talks to little kids, and he goes, boy, you're cute. Because he's a father. I mean, he's really a good man. But they misread him and started running off yelling stranger danger. It's the first time I ever heard stranger danger in the field. And, you know, Jason came back, but we were in an unmarked van. I said, that's it. 2 grown men approaching 2 little kids in a driveway. Not going to ever happen again. So 2 of my favorite memories. I don't know if they're really educational, but they will burn in my mind forever.
I can't, I don't have memories like that and that funny, but, you know, some of my best memories every year are some of the standing projects that I have in certain weeks with a lot of our Route Pro members. And I would say Dependable Cleaners, the week of my birthday, second week of January, every year. They make me feel real special. They seem to up their game every year with the cake and the surprise and whatever they do. I feel real lucky to be able to work with the Dependable Cleaners team. Even in the middle of the winter, in the middle of Boston, who I'm not a Boston sports team fan at all, they make me feel like a part of their family nonetheless.
So yeah, you know, it's hard because we have so many micro memories. You know, I keep firing in my head, and I'm going to share one at the very end. It's my favorite sales story ever. So favorite memory. Now, famous people. You know, a lot of people have famous people on the routes. Who's some of the famous people you've come across?
Number one, my favorite is probably with our guy Ryan Brown out at Dublin Cleaners. We were out there on a project and decided to sneak in a little viewing at the Memorial Golf Tournament out in Dublin, Ohio, and we got out there and it was me, Ryan, and Tiger Woods on the putting green.
That's cool.
And Tiger Woods was just taking strokes. You'll see in the picture here. I took that picture, said good morning to us and everything, so that was cool. I've run into everybody in airports. You just got to be looking for opportunities, and I'm aesthetically motivated, so I've run into Charles Barkley, Doug Flutie, Clyde the Glide Drexler, Jimmy the Mouth from the South, Hart,
I can't believe that.
WWF wrestling manager. You just got to be looking for opportunities, and you won't be so surprised when you see somebody famous.
You told me Barkley was super cool.
He was very cool. Barkley was very cool. He really got it. Said hello to all the friends and all the kids and high-fived them all.
Well, I didn't think about airport. I was flying. Peg and I were flying from Boston all the way back to LA, and we flew first class. It was a free upgrade courtesy of Delta, and I can't think of her name now. She was on Baywatch, the dark Carmen Electra. Yeah, I took that picture. It's Carmen. Peg goes, look, she weighed probably 72 pounds.
That's right.
And she was eating noodles and then spitting them back up in this bowl. True story. So Sham Wow Guy was on somebody's route, I think down south. We got to him. I was knocking on doors near the Cleveland area, and Terry Bradshaw opened the door here in Cleveland.
Wow.
That's Terry Bradshaw.
Hey, Browns fans, you let that slide?
He just opened the door and he goes, what do you want? And I'm just like, he's just like having fun. Delivered to Thurman Thomas personally. Saw Magic Johnson, took that picture. You're like, oh, that's bad. He was outside of a dry cleaner that I was actually cherry picking on a route one time. Pretty easy to figure out who this is. They delivered to Melissa McCarthy and Justin Bieber in the same day, right in the same neighborhood.
Wow.
One of my favorites is going to the Ginsu knife inventor who had sold the Ginsu knife in his house. But my favorite story, knocking on doors ever, this is back, and I showed you that cleaner. This is out in California. George McFly opened the door. Crispin Glover. This is right after Back to the Future 2, 3 has been out, all that stuff. And I also saw his top of his head at first, but I heard the voice, talked to him, he opened the door, asked about privacy, signed the sheet. I've lost that sheet since then. I'm really upset about that. But did get him signed up. He did use the customer. And I didn't say hey McFly, but meeting George McFly in the field. I've had other people, they'll tell us some stories. I remember out in Miami when Dwayne Wade signed up on the route, and the driver was so excited, sent me pictures. There's so many people. I've still shown you Chris Wilde, who you may not know. That's a great thing. But so many. It's fun because there's a lot of famous people that are on routes. I remember a long time ago in Upper Nashville delivering to Al Gore. And the cleaner that he's retired now was a big Republican. He had pictures with George Bush in his lobby, but he was delivering to Al Gore. So I've been to
Don't mix politics and dry cleaning, JP.
Nah, they're dirty either way. So which leads us to our final moment here, our favorite all-time people. And this one's tough. I'll start off with one. You start one, and I'll end with the legend. I mean, there's a lot of legends being built. We just did a video with a future legend or current legend, Brian Sternheim. Brian, one of the best. We work with a lot of you guys are all the best, but these are some of our favorite. And unfortunately, as I was thinking about as we prepared, all three are not in the industry anymore. But that's okay. The sun sets, but things move on. My first one would be your own driver, Nerman Sankanovic. Am I saying that right?
Sankanovic.
I could never do it. Nerman. Yeah, not Norman, but Nerman would challenge. He loved the challenge. And I can remember my favorite story with Nerman, because I want to spend more time with our favorites here, because I think it's really important. I can remember the time that I was there for management training, but he didn't know that. And if you remember, he'd always had to beat the route pro. And you'll tell your Nerman story, too, about him. But we were telling him that James just got one, and he's not. I got one. James just got a second. He got a second. We were done. We're having dinner. We're relaxed. And all of a sudden, he texts Mark. It was like 8 o'clock. He got his third. He had to beat the route pros. But the very first time I rode with Nerman, remember what he said to you?
He called me. For some reason, they stopped to get gas, and James was in the van, and Nerman was pumping gas, and he starts calling me, and James, I've told you this before, he goes, "Hey, boss," in his Bosnian accent, he goes, "The route pro is hiding in the bush. He was hiding in the bush, boss. What am I going to do with this route pro? I go to the door, I talk to prospects. He's hiding in the bush behind me, boss. Come on." It was just one of the funniest things. And you're right. He was so competitive, but he really appreciated you, and he really wanted to beat you every time. He wanted to measure up to you.
He had probably one of the best retention for a driver.
No.
He probably knew the drivers, knew the customers well, knew their habits, kept track sometimes. I think he would get gifts, share gifts. I just was always shocked by all the things he did as a driver. And I know that you trained him and worked with him, but that was internal. And we miss you, Nerman. We hope that you watch this vlog. Who's one of your favorites or your favorite?
It's tough. There's a lot of great people that we get to work with. I would say he's gone on. He's retired now. His name is Mark Torch, and he's a legend in our group. He has brought so much joy. I can't think of somebody that came more prepared to all the training. We would go in there, and he'd have 10 things written down on the driver's seat, ready to go, that he prepared the week before that he wanted to work on. He wanted it, whether it was my opinion, he wanted a best practice from somewhere else. He heard somebody bring something up on a Route Pro conference call. I mean, you think Mark Torch, he was on every single call. Mark Torch did not miss a call for a decade. He's just amazing to work with. Many of you know him. You've met him at the Route Pro conferences. Had a great sense of humor, a very unique sense of humor, and he just really had a go-get attitude. He was not afraid to get out of that van and ask for the business in so many different ways. He always asked for the business, and he didn't take it personal, whether he got a yes or no.
We gave him a perseverance award. Yeah. He really struggled for probably the first 3 to 5 years. I mean, at the point where I think he was getting ready to get let go, and circumstances kind of prevailed where he got to keep his gig. And he really, we had him at a Route Pro conference. Everybody's like, "This is kind of old, scrawny." He looked like Pat Paulson. I'll try to find a Pat Paulson picture. And poor Mark, we get him and put him in front of how did it go last month? He goes, "Well, I only got 23 starts. I had to substitute drive half the time."
23 starts last
only. And he was humble about it. But great. There's a picture that we have of him where some bodybuilder woman's holding him like a trophy,
Yeah.
So Mark Torch is a legend. He called me not too long ago to say hi, how's things going? I think, we miss you, Mark, and we wish you were lucky.
We love you, Mark.
Which leads me to my favorite. You didn't get to work with him. He sometimes makes me cry. To this day, he cries. I cry now for maybe different reasons. But Jim Aubin was probably one of the ultimate, all-time best route developers who didn't have 1 ounce of rejection on him. Didn't deal with any of that. I tell Jim Aubin stories, but my favorite, Jim wasn't. There was things you had to be very direct with Jim and line up for him to work. But when it came to sales, he followed everything to a T. He always said never miss an opportunity to sell. He would say that every conference call he used to be on, for those that remember the Jim Aubin moment. Like James Boyster said, never miss an opportunity to sell. He would get his 9, if he did the 9 to 5, he'd get his 9 cherry picks every morning filling up with gas. We had him fill up with gas because he'd run out of gas. So one day, this is up in New Hampshire, and this is when we go out till dark. We'd be out till in dark selling. And this is about 8:30, and we're coming back, and we run out of gas. And it's dark, and this is back with the flip phones. We didn't have a signal and no GPS. And I said, Jim, you go get gas. Do your thing. About 30 minutes comes by. It's dark. All I see Jim is walking in the shadows carrying a gallon of gas or 2 gallons of gas and a bag of clothes. And I can remember, we've all done this. When you get a new customer, you have this different pace coming back to the van. Okay, you always have you've either got the rejection walk or you got the pace walk. And Jim comes back. All I see is this smile. He had a little bit of a body issue, so he's shuffling his feet the way that he walked. And he opens the door with a big smile. He's got a garbage bag. He didn't have a route bag. A garbage bag full of clothes. And he looks at me and he just says it like Norman did. I never miss an opportunity to sell, James. Yes. And I'm like, Jim, they're not even on the route area because but I would have loved to have been a conversation piece of that. I mean, that's just Jim. That's my favorite moment and my favorite driver. Jim, they actually, where he was at was in New Hampshire. They moved him to Rhode Island, 4 hours away, and he builds a route there. Perseverance. He would come into the plant every morning. Let's get started was his chant. Jim, we definitely miss you. We wish you well. We know your life is turned not for the best. I just told Mark that when things change here in 21 months, if you can figure that out, I'm going to give him a call because he definitely was a pleasant. I'll tell you another story, Mark. This is why I love Jim Aubin. This is in Rhode Island. He was knocking on doors, and somebody poured a Coke on his head. And he called me, and he's just like, James, I just got a Coke pulled on my head. I said, a Coke pulled on my head? He goes, aren't you mad? And he goes, no, I have a spare shirt. Because he was messy. I told him to keep a spare shirt. And he changed his shirt. He rubbed his hair, cleaned in the hose, knocked on the next door, and got a bag. And I'm like, aren't you mad about the Coke? And he's like, no. I got more doors to knock on. So if anybody ever complains about rejection, getting a Coke poured on your head is the worst. So Jim, we miss you too. So we've got guys like Montel Weiner, Hall of Fame, Jason St. Pierre, Jeff Sitz. We do miss you, Debbie, not being involved with us either on our calls. But those are some of our great memories. I've been doing this 20 years. I hope I got another 20 years of memories. You got 989 ride-alongs.
I can't wait for my 1,000th this fall. Who's it going to be?
You had that scheduled.
I did have it scheduled, and then this thing called COVID came into the equation and screwed that up. So we'll see where it's going to be. Who knows?
We got a little time left based on what I'd say. Mark, what do you miss most from being a route manager at Best Cleaners? What do you miss most?
I miss the camaraderie every single day. I miss going in. I miss being the first one in and the last one to leave. I miss unlocking the doors, and I miss locking up at night. It's what I miss the most. I miss the team. I miss the chase, that consistent. It's great with Route Pros Nation because we get so many folks, but at the same time, I miss every single day being able to go in there and say, okay, how was everybody's weekend? What's the game plan for today? And then on Friday afternoons, if we hit our goals, chicken wings and a pitcher of beer for the whole team. And It was great.
I shared the story that time that Sean gave us $1,000 to spend at that restaurant. We were like at $7.80 and we're getting these $80 shots or something, which I don't do shots. Just get to the $1,000 because it was like, it was the team. And
the McCann family's been very good to me.
Yeah, they're good people. You're a lot of good people. And we want to thank you guys for the memories that you continue to share with us in the field, or, even when we're not being this, Mark and I say this all the time, this is the luckiest gig we could have. Like I said, this is my 20th year, really kind of the 14th year or 15th year of really being called the Route Pro to the Route Pros. You know why? Did you ever know why the Route Pro became the name?
You were the route doctor at one point.
I was starting to be I was actually, in our phone number still is 877 Dr. Route. And I had this people going, they were coming up with all these ideas. So I started just searching websites that were available, and the Route Pro was available. So I bought the Route Pro, and that's how it became.
Well, I'll tell you what, Route Pro Nation sounds a lot better than Dr. Route Nation.
Yeah.
We like Route Pros Nation.
Oh, we all wear masks now, so anyway.
Touche.
Anyway, if you guys like our vlogs, subscribe, like, share, do whatever. We're trying to get these out, but for those that are part of Route Pro Nation, we got these pictures. I keep this right here. I love this picture. It's got a lot of our success stories on here, and hopefully you guys will be future success stories for us. That was good.